Have you ever found yourself held back by emotions that feel too powerful to control? We've all been there, caught in moments of jealousy, neediness, self-doubt or anger that linger far longer than they should, eroding our peace of mind. These emotions are part of our humanity, yes, but unchecked, they become our heaviest chains. Ancient philosophers, particularly the Stoics, mastered a truth that transformed them into paragons of inner strength. Real power lies not in changing the world around us, but in mastering the mind within. What if you could take that turmoil, that inner storm, and calm it from the inside? The Stoics showed us how, and today we'll look at 5 of the most common emotional pitfalls we all face and discover a way through each, gaining mastery over ourselves. Together, let's journey through these challenges, understanding that each step forward requires discipline, honesty, and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. If you're ready to break the chains of destructive emotions and achieve inner freedom, then let's begin with the first of these traps that every person, sooner or later, must learn to overcome. The corrosion of joy. At the heart of envy is a painful lie, a festering belief that another person's success somehow takes something away from us. It's the voice that whispers, "Why not me?" as we watch others achieve, acquire, or bask in the admiration we long for ourselves. Envy corrodes from within. It clouds our perception, darkens our hearts, and turns our focus outward, away from the things that truly matter. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said it best. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. When we feel envy, we surrender our freedom, binding ourselves to desires that lie far outside our realm of influence. This is the first lesson in confronting envy, to understand that it thrives on our obsession with what we lack rather than our gratitude for what we have. Envy's presence is so insidious because it preys on insecurity, distorting our view of ourselves and others. When we see someone enjoying what we want, it's not their happiness we despise, it's our own perceived inadequacy. The Stoics understood this pitfall well. Seneca once remarked, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." To root out envy, we must embrace the wealth already within us. Ask yourself, what if you were enough? What if everything you truly need already resides within your control, waiting to be cultivated, refined, and appreciated? This isn't mere self-help. It's the core of Stoic resilience. For when we redirect our energy inward, focusing on our strengths and potential, envy loses its grip and joy re-emerges. The practice of Stoicism teaches us to replace envy with admiration, transforming our envy into a teacher rather than a tyrant. Admiration allows us to observe others' successes and ask, "What can I learn here?" Imagine watching someone achieve a goal you aspire to. Instead of falling into jealousy, see their triumph as proof of possibility. Let their success be a testament to what you too can achieve if you focus your energy wisely. Through this practice, we step out of envy's shadow and into a place of genuine respect for both ourselves and others. To truly conquer envy, we must go further. We must practice equanimity, the Stoic art of accepting each moment as it comes. This doesn't mean we surrender our ambitions or settle for mediocrity. Instead, we pursue our goals without attachment to outcomes, recognizing that the journey itself is where growth lives. When we let go of comparison and embrace gratitude, envy has nowhere to take root. The practice of journaling can be invaluable here. Write down 3 things each day that you are grateful for, things that lie within your control and bring you joy. Over time, these small acts of gratitude forge an armor against envy, building a life rooted in inner wealth rather than external comparison. the hollow hunger. The second pitfall that Stoicism urges us to confront is neediness. At its core, neediness is a desperate grasping, a hollow hunger for validation, attention, or approval from those around us. It's the feeling that we are somehow incomplete, seeking others to fill that void. But true to Stoic thought, we must ask ourselves, is this something within our control, or are we surrendering our peace to the whims of others? Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, warned against such surrender, saying, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Neediness is a form of distress brought on by an incorrect estimate, an overvaluation of the external. When we rely on others for our self-worth, we enter a cycle of dependency that erodes our resilience. Neediness, at its most desperate, becomes an unending pursuit of reassurance, sapping our inner power and creating a fragile identity that shatters at the slightest rejection. The Stoic way demands we cultivate a grounded self-sufficiency, understanding that each of us is whole and capable of fulfilling our own needs. Seneca wrote, "The wise man is self-sufficient. He can do without friends, not that he desires to do without them." Stoicism teaches us that while relationships are valuable, they are not essential for our peace and contentment. Neediness vanishes when we find purpose within ourselves, shifting from dependence on others to a deep appreciation of our own capacity for growth. To combat neediness, the Stoic takes action by focusing on their own virtues. Consider a relationship where we constantly seek validation. By redirecting that energy into becoming a person we admire, by refining our strengths and working on our character, we begin to rely less on others and more on the steady foundation we have built within. When we understand our intrinsic worth, we see relationships as enhancements, not necessities. We approach others with love rather than need, lifting both ourselves and those we care about. In practice, overcoming neediness involves cultivating silence and solitude. Set aside time to reflect on who you are apart from others, your thoughts, your values, your dreams. In moments of solitude, let yourself stand alone without seeking outside affirmation. Over time, solitude strengthens the heart, teaching it that peace comes from within. The path to freedom, as Epictetus put it, lies in disdaining what lies beyond our control. The moment we stop demanding others to fill our emptiness is the moment we realize we were whole all along. The silent saboteur. Self-doubt, the silent saboteur, is an emotional pitfall that Stoicism calls us to rise above. This doubt sneaks into our minds, weakening our resolve and making us second-guess our potential. At its core, self-doubt is born of a belief that we are somehow less than others. But, as the Stoic philosophers remind us, worth is measured not by comparison, but by character. Epictetus declared, "Man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them." In moments of doubt, it is not reality that haunts us, but our perception of ourselves, distorted by fear and insecurity. Self-doubt can become a prison, locking us away from opportunities, growth, and the experience of life's fullest potential. To break free, we must look beyond the illusion of inadequacy. The Stoic perspective tells us that worth is not a question of external achievements, wealth, or acclaim, but of the courage to act in alignment with one's values. By understanding our intrinsic worth, we strip self-doubt of its power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away. Death stands at your elbow. Be good for something while you live." When we grasp the fleeting nature of life, our doubts appear smaller, and we find courage to take the next step. Stoic practice suggests we replace doubt with action. Self-doubt often arises from inaction, from letting our fears stagnate and grow. Instead, act with purpose, even if you are uncertain. Begin with small steps. One by one, these actions will build confidence, transforming self-doubt into self-assurance. As Seneca advised, "Throw me to the wolves, and I will return leading the pack." With each small act of courage, we fortify our resolve, turning self-doubt into a catalyst for growth. The Stoic also embraces humility. Doubt can sometimes be a healthy reminder to refine our skills and continue learning. Accept that perfection is not the goal. Growth is. When we approach each task, each relationship, and each challenge with humility, we understand that every step forward is a triumph over doubt. In doing so, we build a resilience that no doubt can touch, standing firm in the knowledge that our worth lies in our virtues, not in the fleeting judgments of ourselves or others. The fire that consumes. Few emotions are as volatile and destructive as anger. Like fire, anger can seem powerful, even righteous, but left unchecked, it consumes all in its path: relationships, peace, and even self-respect. Stoicism views anger as a poison, an irrational force that takes us far from reason and virtue. Seneca, who wrote extensively on the dangers of anger, observed, "Anger, an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. Anger blinds us to perspective and traps us in a cycle of reactivity, pulling us further from the calm judgment and self-mastery that Stoicism cherishes. Anger arises when we let our expectations collide with reality, leading to resentment. To overcome it, Stoics practice acceptance of events beyond our control, using reason to remind ourselves that external actions do not have the power to disturb our inner peace. Epictetus instructed, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." This isn't passive acceptance, but rather a conscious choice to channel our energy toward constructive action rather than destructive rage. In taming anger, we must learn to pause. When anger strikes, our instinct is to react immediately. The Stoic takes a breath instead, allowing a moment to pass before choosing a response grounded in reason. This pause grants us clarity, helping us see anger for what it is, a passing storm, one we do not need to surrender to. By pausing, we gain power over anger rather than letting it control us. This is where true strength lies, not in the rush of rage, but in the choice to respond calmly, with wisdom. Transforming anger into compassion is another Stoic practice. When someone wrongs us, remember they act from ignorance or suffering of their own. By extending empathy rather than blame, we rise above anger's grip and cultivate resilience and patience. This doesn't mean we accept harm passively, but we learn to respond from a place of calm strength rather than reactive fury. In doing so, anger loses its hold, and we emerge as guardians of our peace, unfazed by the world's provocations. The shadow of freedom. Fear is the final and perhaps most insidious pitfall. It lurks in the background of our lives, keeping us from pursuing dreams, facing challenges, and speaking our truth. Fear is a shadow that clings to us, whispering doubts and fanning anxiety, yet Stoicism offers a way to transcend it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." The Stoic sees fear not as a monster to run from, but as a shadow to confront, for it is only by facing our fears that we gain true freedom. Stoicism teaches that most fears are projections, illusions we create in our minds. They're stories about future events that may never come to pass, shaped by our own insecurities. To dissolve fear, we must bring it into the light. The Stoics practiced negative visualization, imagining the worst-case scenarios of their fears, not to frighten themselves, but to see that they could endure. This practice tempers our fears, showing us that the world is often less terrifying than we imagine. In overcoming fear, we embrace courage, a cornerstone of Stoic virtue. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. Each time we face our fears, however small, we reclaim power over our lives. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom lies not in a life without fear, but in a life where fear no longer holds the reins. We acknowledge fear, we respect it, but we do not let it dictate our actions. Finally, Stoicism teaches us to trust in the process. Life is unpredictable, and there are no guarantees. Fear often stems from an attachment to specific outcomes, the desire for life to conform to our wishes. By releasing our grip on outcomes, we allow life to unfold, trusting our resilience to navigate it. This is the Stoic way, embracing the flow of life with fortitude, knowing that whatever comes, we are prepared. The shadow of fear fades, and we step forward, free and fearless, masters of ourselves and of our fate.